Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the Whirlpool refrigerator thermostat. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new refrigerator thermostat. The temperature control can actually go bad in a couple different ways. The contacts inside could stick together and the refrigerator compressor would never shut off. They could actually short out inside and the compressor won't come on, or it'll run but it won't hold the correct temperature. So if you have any of those problems, you may have to change your cold control. In order to do the repair, we have to open up the refrigerator door. First thing we have to do is remove this cover. It's held in by one Phillips screw. Once we have this off, it'll show the screw for the second cover. So we can take that off. It's also a Phillips. Once we have the screw out, we can just pull the cover out. And that'll give us access to the damper assembly with the cold control on it. In order to get the part out, we have to take out this control panel section. It's held in by 4 screws, and we have to take this trim off the front to get the other 2 off. They're 1/4-inch screws, so we'll do the back 2 first. Alright, the next thing you have to do is take a small screwdriver and pop these knobs out. And then we can go ahead and get behind this front trim and pop it off. Be very careful when you're taking it off, you don't want to break it. Now that we have the front panel off, we can take out these 2 screws to get access to inside. Now that we have the 4 screws out, we have access to all the parts inside. Now that we have the control panel taken apart, we have access to the control. We have to take the screws out that hold this bracket in place so we can lift it up so we can actually get to these 1/4-inch screws that hold the control in place. So we're going to take these 2 screws out and remove the control. Alright, in order to get the control out, first thing we're going to do is remove the wires. Got the double black on top and the orange on the bottom. You can use a small screwdriver to get these off if they're tight. And then the ground wire. Alright, since we took the screws out on the bottom, we can now lift this control up a little bit so we can get the screws out. 1/4-inch screws. In order to remove the control, we have to remove this capillary tube that goes back through this little clip right here. So all you have to do is kind of pull up against it and it'll just come through. In order to remove the cold control, we have to remove the capillary tube from these little clips. It should just pop out. And then we can pull the capillary tube out through the control panel. Here's the old thermostat next to the new thermostat. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. The only thing we have to do is take this plastic sleeve off the old capillary and put it onto the new one. So we're going to make sure we straighten the capillary up really good and pull it off. Once you have it off, we can go ahead and put it onto the new one. The new capillary comes all coiled up, so you have to straighten it out. You want to be very careful that you don't kink this capillary. It is a hollow tube, and if you kink it or damage it, it's not going to give you the proper temperature. Alright, once you have it pretty straight, we're going to take the plastic tubing and just feed it back up the capillary. Again, be very careful that you don't kink this tubing, otherwise you'll be buying another one. You want to slide it on there so the tip of the capillary is right at the very end. If you stretch the plastic out while you were pulling it out and you have a little bit of extra, you can trim it off so it's right at the end of the capillary tube. Now that we have that installed onto the new one, we can go ahead and put the control back into the refrigerator. It's going to mount right here, and then we have to run the capillary tube through there. So we're going to stick this tube in and kind of reach from behind and guide it through. All right, when you're remounting the thermostat, make sure that you put the bracket behind the thermostat mounting ears. The screws actually go into the sheet metal, not the actual control. All right, now that we have the control remounted, we can remount this bracket. When you put it back down, make sure that this cam goes in that little notch right there so it can control your freezer temperature. And to put that back in, it was the Phillips screws from underneath. All right, now that we have everything remounted, we can reconnect the wires. We got the grounding wire. The orange was on the bottom, and the double black was on top. We're going to put this up and out of the way, just so we can show you how to put the capillary tube on without this thing hanging in the way. And then we'll finish putting this together in a minute. The two with the big washers go underneath. In order to finish installing the capillary tube, we have to make sure that we bring it over the top, bring it around, and through the clips to mount it. So all we have to do is stretch it over the back and then get it into these little clips to mount it again. And then click in the top part. All right, that's it. We have the capillary tube installed. It's not interfering with the damper control. Now that we have everything reinstalled, we can put the covers back on. Make sure this little tab goes up into the slot. And the front half is held on by your Phillips screw. Second cover goes on the same way. All you do is put it up there and put the screw back in. And then we can put the control panel back on. It hooks in on the bottom. These grooves right here go right into these slots, and then you push it up and snap it into place. All right, the last thing we have to put on is the control knobs. Remember the one with the funky back? Is the refrigerator control. On the top is the narrow part, and on the bottom is the wide part. So we're going to make sure this narrow part goes towards the top, and the wide part is towards the bottom. Wherever your control happens to be lined up, it may be a little bit different, but you just have to look in there to see. And then on the freezer control, just a D-shaped knob. So we're going to get the flat right there and match up the flat and put it in. And you just want to make sure, since we took this all apart, you can turn these to make sure they spin freely, and then set it to whatever you want for your refrigerator. Now that you're done repairing your refrigerator, you can plug it back in, make sure that it starts to cool off, and that the temperatures return to normal. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.